Welcome, everybody, to the new Useless Information Podcast. I am your co-host, Danny B, and I am joined by this handsome fellow right here, Dick. I don't like to call him that, but his name's Dick.
You can still call me Richard, but everybody else has to call me Dick because it's the mind of Dick. So
that's right.
But you always know me as Richard, and that's fine. I understand that, but I am the mind of Dick. So
that's right. We're setting standards on the new podcast right now, people.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back to the Useless Information Podcast. It's been quite some time, and this is long overdue. I've been listening to this dude's podcast. This guy's going fucking viral on Instagram. If you guys haven't caught that, we'll talk about that briefly. But a lot of growing on my part, and a lot of help from this guy too. So I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to start this new chapter. And I think we have a really good show planned out for you guys today.
I agree. And, it's friendly competition. We're trying to make each other better. We're trying to push this shit to the limit. We're going to be one day looking back going like, fuck yeah, dude, remember where we started? And we pushed each other. We got big, man. So that reel, by the way, almost at 100K. 100K.
That is, if you have not seen it, please go follow the Mind of Dick podcast on Instagram, and you can follow the hellstorm that this guy unleashed on the Beehive. Because when I showed my fiance, she goes, "That was the Beehive," and then it all just was like, I was like, yep. Oh shit, I didn't even think about it. It's like it was the Beyonce, the Grammy. People, if you're not, picking up what I'm laying down here, this was some good stuff during the Grammys, and it was all controversial. Everybody knows about it. We've all talked about it with our friends and family, but this guy drops some opinionated, factual stuff on the Beehive, and they went ballistic on him. 100K, close to 100K.
Yeah, they don't think they liked how I called it Cowboy Coochie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then that was funny. When I first heard that, I was like, holy shit, dude.
Shit just popped into my head, Cowboy Coochie.
Because you know what? There's some people out there, and it's me personally too, is like, there's just some words that just like, ooh, they give me the cringe,
yep.
And I say me and my wife say words that people are like, oh my gosh, you say that? And it's like, yeah, that's just natural. But when I hear coochie, I'm just like, ooh, that's so, it's like almost triggering a woman when they like call them a tramp. Like, you don't ever hear that or call them like a bitch, that's like, those are like really triggering words, and, when you dropped that on then, and then you said the album sucked, and then it was like non-deserving and shit. My gosh, it was awesome.
Yeah,
and
the point of it was the fact that it was 71 people, which I understand that they credit samples. I know how the music works. I did an episode about it, and I was like, I know how the music industry works. Everybody's trying to like, it's 71 writers, but it's also like all these samples, and they credit the samples. Yeah, they credit the samples, the people that wrote those songs, so they could get paid, and that's credit where credit is due. But regardless, that wasn't my point. My point was it was trash, and it took all that to make trash when I believe that two people wrote an amazing album that deserved to win. Just two people, no samples, nothing like that. Two people wrote an album that was amazing. And I listened to it over and over again. I listened to it with my daughter, and we were just going over it. And I was like, this is amazing, that Billie Eilish album, which I kept calling Billie Eyelash. And I was doing that on purpose. I know her name's Billie Eilish. I had people say, did he say Billie Eyelash? Yeah. But I listened to it again, and I was like, this is really good. And two people wrote it. So that was the whole point. And people were just losing their minds saying, it wasn't just 71 writers. It was like samples and all this other stuff. And I fucking know that. I know. I'm not stupid. Look behind me. I know what music is about, So that was why it kind of touched a nerve with some people. And I think that's why it's doing so well. It's just that you don't fuck with the Beehive, and they kind of went off. They were upset about it. So.
It's I mean, it wasn't even like you went for like shock, like a shock video,
No.
and that's literally how people have gotten to the point where with these celebrities, and we can go into the Swifties as well. And I'm half Swiftie, so I have to watch my mouth here.
Right.
So, which by the way, I did see her live, her first performance of the Eras Tour, and she was amazing. Like you can't say anything about this woman live. She is the best performer I've seen live, like in a 3.5 hour long concert. That was like incredible, dude. Like hands down, she was great. But it was incredible to see like the sensitivity of these people that will never ever get to experience these people ever, like even in a concert, because it's so rare to even get a ticket because it's so it's like you're putting a down payment on a house to go see them. It's sad. It's really crazy, dude. So when they attacked you, I was like, good for him. I was like, good for him.
Yeah, I remember you called me and you were like laughing your ass off at the comments, and I think it was only like 15K at that time.
Yeah. Yo, it was nothing, dude. It was like, it was just barely starting. It was like, holy shit, dude, what's going on? And I was like, dude, we should like go back and forth. And we didn't even need that.
No, dude. I started commenting on a bunch of stuff and just like, then I just let it go. I haven't touched it in a couple weeks, and it just keeps growing every day. And it's like, they said it's really close to 100K. It's just an accomplishment I thought I'd never do. I never planned to do. I never wanted to do. It was just something I decided to rant about in my podcast and made a clip of it. And it just, the Beehive got a little, got a little heated on it. So
Macy Gray decided to put down the pan and stop cooking.
Yes.
And decided to comment on that as well.
Yes. Macy Gray, blue badge verified Macy Gray, because she's so like relevant right now. She's so relevant.
Could you imagine that nasally ass woman fucking just saying that shit out loud? What she was saying, like, I can't believe like, whatever the hell she sounds like, dude.
I can't believe you say that there's 71 riders. Yeah.
Milkshake.
Yeah.
Milkshake.
I was just like, whoa, is this the actual Macy Gray? Like, who cares?
Yeah,
like,
that was crazy, dude.
It's crazy. Like, shit actually reached someone like that. Like, come on. It's crazy. I don't even know what's going on. Like, it's not something that I ever expected to happen, but hey, whatever, we don't fuck with the Beehive, 'cause that's what happens.
I don't even comment on any posts anymore. There's sometimes I get a little hair up my ass and I go, I'm just going to say something funny or whatever.
Yeah.
And, these people will start, it'll be like a month before anybody even replies to it. And then it'll just be a shitstorm of people just going nuts on it. And sometimes it's just like a grammar error on my end, and you can't edit it. Once you put that on a post on someone else's, like, that's like verified and shit, you can't edit it. It's out there forever.
Yeah.
So I trashed this one comedian / athlete that I despise. I can't stand him. Anytime I see him, I just go AWOL on him. So all these defenders went after him, like, he said this, you were wrong about that. You're a piece of shit for saying this. You blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, this guy is a dirtbag. I'm like, if you really go down like the rabbit hole, this guy's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
I'm not ever going to say that Taylor Swift's a dirtbag because there's never been an allegation about it. But right now, what's going on in the music industry with like Jay-Z, Diddy, and he's tied, that Grammy Award, is tied into.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope, my friend.
Yeah, and I think it'll be exposed sooner than later. Just so you know, I think that Jay-Z is going to get exposed, and Beyonce is going to get exposed, all that stuff. So that's kind of why I had to say something, because it's all fake. Like the title of that episode was "Everything's Rigged and Fake," right? Because it really is. Like the Grammys are rigged and fake. It's all everything in the world is just rigged, and it's not real. We're basically in a simulation, and it's not important. The Grammys aren't important, but it's something that I had to talk about because I had to bring that up. That like, hey, this shit ain't real. She won an award. Yay. Like she's trying to make herself the greatest in the world, but it's not real. She didn't really win an award. And seriously, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about the Grammys at all? At all.
Man, I wanted a Grammy. When I was in a group, it was like, man, it'd be cool to have a Grammy, but knowing how it's really done, we're just there for the dog and pony show.
It really. Eminem said it years ago, like, hey, don't fucking invite me. Like, I'm going to come there and sit down and see all these great artists get fucking passed over for these people that just basically, are getting, their people are getting paid to vote for them. So, it's like they're all sniffing each other's asses, and that's why they win. So Eminem said it. I was like, okay, M said it. He's not going no more. All right, this shit's fake. And I've known this for years, I've known this show is fake for years, but this last year, just watching everything that happened, I was just like, I have to say something about it. I have to say something, because I already know, like, the whole world is rigged. Everything's fake. Everything's fake and rigged. So the Grammys is just one example. Just the Super Bowl's fake and rigged. I know how
Watch
you feel
it.
about that, but
Watch it.
I feel like like all sports are fake and rigged. I mean, except for baseball, because the Dodgers are just, they're not the kind of team that's gonna, be rigged or anything like that with buying players or anything like that. Like that doesn't happen. But
Oh, I see what you did there, you son of a
yeah, you
bitch.
son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
you 8 miled me before I could say anything.
Yep. I 8 miled you.
That's epic.
Yep. All right, dude. So,
well, welcome everybody to the show. That was quite an intro. Sorry about all that. You got a little piece of like an after party before the show even started. So
that's okay. That's how we do it.
But we have like a good lineup set up. We're not going to give you like a list of what's going on. We're going to make it mesh, people. It's going to flow today. It's going to flow like
we're like prepared.
Butter.
We're like prepared for the first time. Like we actually like discussed what we were going to do. So
yeah, so I'm hoping this guy doesn't do any like zoom ins on me because I got new lighting in it and I'm sweating fucking profusely in this studio. I am not going to bullshit you guys. So if you see little beads of sweat get into my glasses, I start perspirating and I'm sucking on this coffee, which makes no sense at all in this situation. That's why.
Okay. Well, I'm sitting here like shivering almost because it's fucking snowing outside and you're sitting there sweating under the lights.
I want that. I know. I'm like, dude, this sucks. We're supposed to get 5 more weeks of this, and now it's already hot. I'm already sleeping with the fan on in my room at night. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those winters, but yeah, it's dumping outside. Like driving home, and it was ridiculous from work, but I made it. I survived. Should be one of the last storms here, though. I think is what they're saying. It's going to start turning into spring, so that's good. I hate the fucking snow. It's pretty, but I fucking hate it.
We're gonna be like, we hate the winter. It's cold, and now when it gets hot, it's like, man, I can't wait till it gets cold again. It's like,
no, not me.
We're so really?
Not me. No, I'm summertime.
So like
I'm
that.
like, it starts to cool down. I'm like, oh, summer's over. Like I'm a summer guy. Like I'm like pools and like baseball and pools and like trying to like here going to lakes and like just chilling in the water. Like that's me. Like once it gets wintertime, I'm like depressed. I'm like, this sucks. Once it starts,
because we're mostly staying inside and stuff like that. We're not really going out. Yeah.
And
I feel that. I get
that seasonal depression bad. Like, and I did that even in California when like it would cool down to like 50, 60 instead of 90, 100. I was like, man, summer's over. But at least you get like 6 months of it there, 6-7 months of it there. You get like 4 months of summer here, and that's it. You kind of, and it's you try to make the best of it. Really try to make the best of it.
Is it 8 months of hell though?
No, not really. It's you get like fall is beautiful and it's it's 50s, 60s and it's just beautiful weather, and then the leaves start changing, and then right around December, right around Christmas, it starts to drop, and then you get about 3 months of snow and hell, and then it starts to turn into spring and it's beautiful again, and then summer comes, and summers here are amazing. I love the summers here. They're so fun.
I was there a couple years ago in the summertime, and like I told you before, I'm like, I went to the greatest Walmart I've ever experienced in Utah. I'm like, I can eat this dirty ass burrito I just bought, off this floor. It was so nice.
Yeah, definitely.
But knowing that anything further going, East Coast is like, yeah, you're not going to experience this most of the time like you do in California. So
no.
Just it. And that's even my wife and I came to a realization that we're not going to move to Montana, that we're just going to buy like a property or do like an Airbnb and then just have like our family invest in it so we can go and do that during the summertime, during the great part of it.
Yeah.
And everybody else can just use it for whatever.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart because you don't want to be in Montana during the wintertime.
No, I mean, we were there even when it was raining. I'm like, this fucking sucks. It was perfectly like sunny. We got to our campsite, and then it just started hailing down, just dumping down shit. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bipolar weather too.
Oh yeah, and they get like 8-9 inches during the winter. 8-9 inches, baby. I measured.
So yeah. Good heavens.
Yes. Yeah. It's so much so it hurts.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. Okay, I got half that.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's.
Wait, what are we talking
even
about?
going to get into that.
Okay, so let's get into it. Right. Let's get into the music segment of our episode today. I wanted to talk about Nirvana just recently played a show. They played 2 shows actually. One show was for the LA fires. It was like a benefit for the LA fires, and they played with 4 different female singers, and it was actually not too bad. I liked that. And then they played one with Posty, people were calling Post Nirvana, and they played that at the Saturday Night Live 50th reunion. So what I wanted to get into when it comes to like Nirvana, because they played with the original members plus the different singer. Of course, Kurt, passed away in 94. I don't think Pat Smear should be considered an original member because he really wasn't on any of the recordings. He just kind of played live with them, but he was a member for a little bit before Kurt passed. I'm bringing this up because we talked about like Linkin Park, stuff like that, having a new singer. If Nirvana decides to actually go on tour with whoever the singer is, like they had Joan Jett and they've played with Joan Jett before, and I think that would be a good fit just because she's super famous, and then it would be fine. But if they picked a singer, played with her, I don't know. I think that would be something I'd go see. I never got a chance to see Nirvana, but I wouldn't be like way into it. To me, they better not record any new fucking music. And I started thinking about it, and I wanted to talk to you about it. I went on that tangent about how Linkin Park was like, this is a great thing, this is a good thing. But I'm saying Nirvana, no. So I'm contradicting myself. So I wanted to, how do you feel about that?
I am not going, okay, so this is going to be a very, let me just get ready for the possibility of how this is going to be taken.
Okay.
So growing up, I was a huge Nirvana fan.
Yes.
Huge Nirvana fan. Learned how to play guitar mostly through Nirvana songs.
Yeah. It's exactly how I learned how to play guitar, was Nirvana.
Yeah, them and Green Day were my two artists I went to. So heavily into it, heavily influenced. Not gonna lie to you, I listened to their albums. I can't vibe to most of it anymore, dude. Mm-hmm. I have to be in the mood to listen to Nirvana now.
Yeah.
I think like Come As You Are and like Lithium are still like, I think, more of a staple in my heart than like Smells Like Teen Spirit or All Apologies or all that type of stuff, or Heart Shaped Box. Yeah. Those were the two that kind of hit the most to me. So it's very rare that I seek that type of style of music during the day. I didn't listen to them perform. I've only listened to the Post Malone setup because I'm actually buying on Record Store Day. We're actually going to go over to the store and buy the release. So I really enjoyed it, but I hated the way they played Smells Like Teen Spirit. I just
Posty?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't enjoy
sound
it.
Great. He didn't sound great.
Yeah. It didn't sound good. So I don't know what the ladies sounded like. But it goes to another, and we talked about this before, and I'm going to stand with it again. I think when you touch these legendary bands and you try to go on a tour, and then there's a possibility of writing new music, it hurts the band more than it helps. Yeah. If you need to go out and tour and just make money, go out and get, hire someone that sounds like that vocalist and go do it. Mm. But don't write any new music. Journey's never done it. Journey has not written one fucking album with this new singer because they don't need him to do that.
Right. And I think that the reason I like Linkin Park so much is I just think it sounded good to me. And as I started really thinking about it and thinking about bands that are like legendary bands, and you can put Linkin Park in that category because they did, they are one of those bands that came out like after 2000 that really changed how music was sounding at the time, right? Like, late 90s to early 2000s, Linkin Park kind of did really like put that kind of rap rock, that new metal, all that, and they kind of changed how things sounded. They were kind of put in that category, like legendary category. But I start thinking about it like there are bands that have put out new music with a different singer and it all didn't really go well. And then thinking about Nirvana, I'm like, well, maybe it's not a good idea, because I wouldn't want to see like a new Beatles album with like 2 new members, that like that wouldn't happen. And that's a legendary band. I wouldn't want to see anything like that. So maybe, where do you draw the line on, like, what bands are okay to do that and what bands aren't, you know?
I don't think you can't touch any bands pre 2000.
I agree. Because look, Nirvana to me was the gateway band. Okay. Before that, I didn't know what I liked. It was the gateway band for me. And it put basically anything with heavy guitars, it put that in like right in front of me. So I started listening to whatever bands Kurt Cobain would talk about. So I listened to Sonic Youth, and Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth was one of the ones that performed with Nirvana, and it was actually not bad. And I listened to them, and then I started listening to like all the bands from Seattle. Sort of like I really like Soundgarden. I got into Chris Cornell, and then from there I got into punk rock, and then from there it was like rock music in general. Anything that had heavy guitars I liked, and I started liking Metallica a little bit in the beginning, and I hated them. Like, you know, that we've talked about that. But anything that was like heavy, I started liking. And Nirvana was the gateway that got me into the music that I really loved, like punk rock. And to me, they changed the face of music. And what I mean by that is, and a lot of people will say this, but what I mean by that is you wouldn't have bands like Green Day or The Offspring, and then fast forward to Linkin Park and fast forward to My Chemical Romance and bands that came out in that emo era, right? You wouldn't have any of those bands if Nirvana didn't break, because before that, rock music was not mainstream.
It was just the hair bands.
Yeah.
And they were...
Yep. But they weren't like mainstream. I mean, they weren't like in the top. If you look at mainstream as in like top 40 Billboard, none of those hair bands were there. It was all like Michael Jackson. It was Michael Bolton and fucking, you know, it wasn't anything rock.
Madonna,
Whitney Houston, which, you know, I love all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but that's what was mainstream, right? And then after that, you had bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam. And then you get into the pop punk era where you have Blink-182, Green Day, Offspring, all these bands break, right? And none of that would happen if it wasn't for Nirvana breaking. And so my question to you is like, are we ever going to see that again? Is there ever going to be a band? Because it's happened from the Beatles in the 60s, and then you go to like in the 70s, you have like Led Zeppelin and like Black Sabbath, you know, bands that kind of changed music in a way. You wouldn't have rock and roll the way it was, even though, you know, people talk about how the Beatles stole a lot of their sound. You wouldn't have rock and roll if the Beatles didn't break. So like you said, like to your point, before the 90s, pre-90s, no, right? Will we ever have that again? Will we ever have someone who changes the face of music at all?
You know what, dude? I don't think it's a band. I think the person that we would have to seek out, which I don't have any clue of who it would be to even give credit to.
Taylor Swift?
But no. But it's crazy how her progression of music became from country to what it is now.
Yeah.
But I think to give sole credit to how music is now being listened to and how it is being produced in your standard dance form BPM, where every song is,
it's all the same.
It's all grouped.
Same.
So whoever hit that dance BPM that triggered someone's head to be like, that's the most catchiest thing I've heard in so long. We can build off that.
Yeah.
And all it is just a BPM and a chorus. That's all it is. Yeah. Most of the lyrics and everything else are trash. Yeah. And you have a really great chorus, which everybody, if you don't realize, that's what was the root of the 90s.
Yep.
The chorus was everything. NWA was the first group that fucked all that up because it was all lyrics. They're like, we don't need a chorus. It was just us talking shit the entire time. So So that was the root of like great music, was verse, chorus. So like intro, verse, chorus, you know, breakdown, outro, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So we got complicated, you know, in the 2000s and stuff like that with music, and everybody tried to be something really complicated. And then somebody came out with that simple dance rhythm that stemmed from, I don't know when it was, but if you hear it from 2000 to 25 years later, that's what all the greatest music sounds like now.
Yeah.
All BPM dance music.
It's all
So
psychological. It's all everything, even from like rock to rap to anything to pop music. It's all psychological. You just write it in this formula and just feed it in, write some stupid lyrics with a catchy hook, and there's your song. And it's all like just it's all fake. It's all like I said, it's all computerized, and it's all none of it's real anymore. It's just throw it out there, and every pop song you see, every popular song you see, it's the same formula. And that's my point, is like we won't see anybody. Are we ever going to see somebody change music? Are we going to see?
I can see one group. I mean, but they're not like, they're not. I don't even know how to say this because I really enjoy their music, but they're very technical and they're not a lyrical group. They're a musical group, in instrument only, Polyphia. And from when they started to now, they're considered one of the, two of the greatest guitarists possibly of all time, like putting them up there with Hendrix and everything, how great they are. And their music is so incredibly good to the point that Rush would be like, what the fuck am I listening to? Yeah. And I think they have changed how musicians look at producing music now. Like, oh, I can do that. Look how he's sweeping. Look, what is he doing? Even drummer, bassist, everything. They're just incredible musicians. So I think you're seeing how they're manipulating how people are starting to write music and how things can sound in a guitar, in music, and all instruments. So will they have the same effect as like your Nirvanas, Zeppelins, and Pink Floyds and all that stuff? I don't think we'll ever get that because I don't think anybody is that creative anymore. Besides, I think besides like Polyphia and like your Animals as Leaders, like when you hear Animals as Leaders, if you haven't heard thumping, like finger thumping, it is the most craziest thing you'll ever hear. And Tobin, I think his name is Tobin Asabi, I don't know his last name, so please forgive me. He originated that, and it was just, and he's just thumping his thumb on the first fret, and it's just, now you got Polyphia doing that, and now they're incorporating. It's just really crazy how I think musicians are like inspiring each other to, bring out, lucid sounds out of guitars that you never even thought, that Nirvana, like Kurt Cobain would never even think of doing.
No, Kurt Cobain was using that same formula like we were just talking about, you know, and that's kind of what it was. Is it was catchy, but it was heavy, and nobody was doing that. Nobody was really like writing these songs that had this, because his hooks were like really good, even though they didn't really say anything. They were just really catchy, and that's why it stuck. And it was at a perfect time where we needed something like that to change music, because it was poppy, but it was heavy at the same time, and nobody was really doing that. And it just kind of stuck. It just kind of, and then everybody realized, like you said, like everybody realized, hey, we can do that. We can do like poppy and heavy at the same time. So
we can repeat the same phrase over and over again, so it stays in your guys' head. Like everybody out there, go to some of your favorite songs in the world.
They all do that,
and look at the lyrics and see how many times they say that fucking famous thing over and over again. It's over 10 to 15, maybe even 20 times.
Yeah, it sticks in your head.
And the fact that Kurt Cobain's like, hello, 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 it was like, he says it a lot in that song. So, but that's what catches your brain on it. That's the first thing you think of.
And then he stole that riff from like, what song was that? Dun, 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 dun. Like, it was. Oh, it's like more than a feeling. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He stole that riff. So, I mean, it's nothing. It's one of those things where like everybody steals music from everybody else. It's kind of the same thing, but it was at the right time and it changed music. I just don't feel like we're at a time where everything's just so like programmed and everything's just put into a formula and here you go. I don't think we'll ever see someone like, we lived in a time where we were able to see music change, right? And I don't think like anyone else is going to ever see that.
And that's with technology. That's what
technology. And that's also because we grew up in a time where like technology changed. We're lucky enough to grow up in a time where we had no technology, and then we had technology, right? We had TVs was the basic only thing we really had. And then we grew up in the 80s where like the home computer came, the home video game came. We're the luckiest generation to have both. We played outside, but we also had technology. Now the kids don't play outside, and everything's all technology. And the music's showing that. Music is showing that it's all technology. And I just don't think we'll ever see someone like a Nirvana or, you know, someone like that that's going to change music, that everyone after them is going to be like, wow, this is different. And music for decades is going to change. I don't think we'll ever see that again. And you can talk about bands that like write different kinds of music, like Tool does that, right? Like they write in different ways. Like they do odd time signatures, and people were always like, what the fuck? I can't do that. And wait, you're allowed to do that? You can't just follow this formula. You're allowed to do that. But Tool didn't really change music. They just made people go, wow. Right. And,
Right.
And so I think to your point, like what you're saying, that's what's going to happen is they might change how some bands write songs and how they formulate songs, but it's never going to take to where like it's going to change music. Like Tool never changed music. They just,
Right.
you know, people just loved how they did things. And they couldn't figure out some of their time signatures, and it just sounded good. It's like, how the fuck are they doing that? But I just don't think we're ever going to have someone that's going to do that. We're not going to have another like Black Sabbath that is going to it's going to basically start the metal genre in the 70s, right? Like, in my opinion, they were one of the first bands to ever start metal. Like there was nothing like that before. There was like Deep Purple, there was Black Sabbath, and then maybe Led Zeppelin, but it was more like Black Sabbath started playing these guitars that sounded like distorted and crazy, and then they started playing super fast, and that was a band that changed music. That's a legendary band that changed music. We're not going to have that. I don't think we'll have that ever again. You know?
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can probably honestly agree with that. It's just they're not going to have the same influence.
No.
It's just because I think it's a different time. You know, you had to go out there and buy records. It was more intimate. It was more intimate
really
to be. I think how people are intimate with these like Swifties and in the Beehive and shit like that. It's not. That's like a weird like a phone online type of like feeling towards a celebrity. It's really quite creepy, you know?
Yeah.
But when you had to go buy an album and you had to go and socialize with other people waiting in line to fucking get that album, it was like a different feeling. It was like, hey, people, it was like going out there and seeing a show without phones, and you had to talk to people excited to see the same person that you wanted to see.
Yeah.
We really lived in a great time, dude.
Yeah.
Like we truly did.
We did.
And I think our kids, you know, are very privileged to be in this day and age, but are very, you know, very taken away from what we had, dude, because we can't introduce them to what we had our lives like, because the world we live in now is so incredibly different.
It is.
You know, it wasn't like when we were born, or you know, when we were living, you know, in the 70s and the 80s and in the early 90s. You know, you go back 30 years ago, it wasn't super crazy different, you know. There wasn't like with technology and shit, it wasn't that crazy. But 30 years from the 90s to 2020, big difference.
Yep.
Big difference. So
100%.
kids from 2000, just look at what they've experienced in 10 years.
Yeah.
Holy moly. You got rid of MySpace and you got Facebook and everything all that other stuff. People don't even talk about MySpace, and MySpace was the innovator to all this nonsense we have now.
It was.
You know, and I love MySpace. I wish I would go to MySpace in a heartbeat right now if they brought it back to the originating.
If they brought it back exactly the way it was, like back when it was at its like biggest peak, like fuck yeah, I'd be right on that thing.
We have to learn coding again? Fuck yeah, dude. Teach me some shit.
Yeah. We had to learn HTML. What? Hey, we were all programmers.
Yeah, Facebook and social media now just teaches you that life is fake, and all these people that you follow are just living a fake fucking life.
It's true. Everything's fake and gay now. It's all it is. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Everything. Yep. 100%.
It really is.
It really is.
So people, don't be super sensitive either. If you honestly grew up in the 80s and 90s and you're sensitive to what these kids are today, I feel you had a bad childhood. You may think you had a good childhood, but you didn't. You needed to be roughed up. You needed to be called gay and smear the Q and all that stuff. You needed all that shit.
Yeah.
You know, you needed hazing. You needed hazing.
Yeah.
You needed hazing.
bullying.
Grow
You
up.
needed to get beat
Yeah.
up. Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
problem is like kids aren't getting beat up and they're all in safe spaces now. And so, you know, they're all like, oh my God.
I'm not saying go tell your kids to go out there and go fucking bully somebody because they think their, you know, their shirt is like, you know, too tight or their shoes are too fucked up or whatever the case may be, whatever. You know, I'm not, you know, advocating it, but it was like, it was a different type of day where it was just like, it was like almost accepted. Like you almost knew it was happening from, you know, from somewhere. You didn't know where it was coming from, but you knew like at some point you were going to get shit talked at one point.
Yeah.
You know, and it was something like, you know, like, oh, sweet shirt, like, you know, or like fucking ugly or nice teeth. I had fucked up teeth, you know, and I had a really bad comb over, so I got made fun of all the fucking time. And I was a big guy too. You know, I was a really big dude, so my weight was always made fun of, and I was always trying to get my ass kicked. So, but it made me into the person I am now and realize, hey, there's really shitty people out there, regardless of like, how good looking you are, how smart you are, whatever. People are always going to talk shit.
Oh yeah.
So
I got bullied too, bro. So I mean, I feel that.
Yeah, we grew up in Lake LA, dude.
Yeah.
So like, I tell you this, dude. When I was leaving Challenger Middle School, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to Little Rock," I'm like, "I don't want to go to Little Rock. There's like fucking riots there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go there."
Yeah.
But that was like, kids don't have that fear right now. You know,
No.
it's really kind of crazy because kids are like, I'm more in fear of the kids that have to worry about just lingering types of drugs just going around.
Yeah.
Like that's what like these kids have to worry about.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's progressing in, I think we're progressing in a cool technological way, but I think for the mindset of our future, we're fucked.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Sorry. I mean, so, you know, keep your kids off this shit. You know, this is a really great instrument if you're teaching them how to progress in something for their future. But if you're like, hey, honey, just go sit down while mommy, you know, goes on TikTok. I realized that I fucked up by doing that too, you know, and my daughter is like, she's the smartest thing in the world because of that phone. We wanted to before we end the music segment.
Oh,
what do you think about Ozzy trying to do this last performance thing?
I think that if Ozzy's going to come out in a wheelchair, it's done, dude. He need to stop, bro. Because he can't fucking walk, bro. Did you know that he can't fucking walk?
So I didn't know that he was going on tour until all this shit happened or doing one final show.
Yeah.
So I guess the tickets sold out like within mere minutes. It was just like one and
last
done,
money
no
grab.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the big controversy out of all of it that he just came out recently on his Sirius show stating, I'm not planning on doing a set with Black Sabbath, but I'm doing a little bits of pieces with them. I'm doing what I can where I am comfortable. So imagine dropping Taylor Swift ticket type money on this fucking show and knowing that this guy's going to come out and play like a quarter of fucking War Pigs or
and he's going to be,
he's like, I'm good.
Sharon was like, he could still sing, he just can't walk. You know,
man, he probably can't even read the fucking monitor.
Yeah.
He's reading the lyrics.
How is he still alive? Like, I don't understand how he's even still alive with all the drugs he did and stuff. You know, with everything he did to his body, he's still alive. Like,
people, can I be a little bit blunt with all y'all? This guy has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
How many times have you watched a fucking Michael J. Fox interview or anything that he's produced after he's had Parkinson's?
Yeah.
Probably not a lot because it's fucking hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's hard to see somebody you grew up and actually looked at as like, wow, this person is awesome.
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox during the Back to the Future days was a god. He was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, Ozzy Osbourne at his youth, even up until he started losing his shit, was awesome.
Yeah.
When I did the Battle for Ozfest show he did on MTV, that was in 2003. He was in still good shape, looked great. So do you want to see someone on stage trying to attempt to sing some of your favorite songs with Parkinson's disease? Doesn't that sound really shitty when you say it out loud?
Yeah.
You're a horrible individual if you fucking bought that ticket. If you're buying it just so you can film it to put it for the gram, you're a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
You know, that's horrible. Like, I don't wish anybody to get in and out of that stadium with all that traffic and all the hell that's going to break loose, because that set is going to be horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be terrible. And I mean, how old is too old? Like, when do you finally say, okay, I can't? You know,
When you
I
have
can't do it anymore.
Parkinson's, anytime
When
you
you
have Parkinson's, you should just stop. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stop. Like you can't, don't say it's not like running through a mile. Like I'm just going to power through it. Like, no, you
No.
don't do that when you're having people invest in this, put to go see you as a fan, as a idolizing fan, and then you do this as your last performance. Like, why?
Yeah.
That's like the whole thing with Nirvana. Like, why would you do it?
Why? Yeah. I mean, is it
Why
one
don't you
last
just
money grab? You got lots of money, Ozzy. Like, why are you
Ozzy can
doing
do a
this?
documentary on his Parkinson. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
let's just try to see if you guys can perform, like do like a small like little thing, like 3 or 4 songs for like some of your closest friends and family. Let's do a documentary, just how the struggle of it, and then you can make money off of that.
Yeah.
Sign it to Netflix and all that. No, but you want to go and make millions of dollars so you can look like a goddamn fool so we can talk about it later. And
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, but I'm going to have to because it's going to be horrendous.
Yeah. And I'm gonna end this on one quote from Kurt Cobain that is actually not a quote from Kurt Cobain, but he said it. It's actually a Neil Young song, but he said it's better to burn out than fade away. And Ozzy should have just stopped years ago when he was in his prime. And I think that a lot of people should do that. You got to stop when you're in your prime and then leave it at that. You don't need to keep trying to go out. And then there's people that make a fool of themselves because they're done. They're too old. They're too washed up. We don't need to see this shit anymore. We really don't need to. But when is that line? When do you stop? How old is too old?
I'm a wrestling fan. I'm a early 80s, 90s wrestling fan. And when I see like Hulk Hogan and when Sting was still wrestling and they look all like shit, all beat up, all fucking old man doing this, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't get out of it.
Just
you
stop.
Can't get over the pop. Yeah, just stop.
Yeah, it's better to burn out than fade away, man. It's like if you stop right here, and that's kind of what Kurt Cobain was quoting in his suicide notes. I don't want to bring that up, but I get his point. Like, it's better. He didn't want to like be that old rock star someday and like just keep playing these old tired songs. And he just didn't want to be, that was what it was going to end up being. And so he was just done. And I feel like
he didn't think they were ever going to fucking make it that big though.
No,
like,
he
you're
did
talking
not.
about, I mean, you're talking about just making it. This guy, like you said, they changed the music industry.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to do that. It's just that that's what happened, and he didn't know how to handle it. So, and that's not
I'm
my
surprised
point when
Taylor
it comes
Swift
to him,
hasn't shaped her head.
Yeah,
I mean, Britney Spears shaved her head.
I know.
Taylor Swift is like a bajillion times bigger than he ever was.
Yeah.
And she's still rocking,
Yeah, she's a different animal. And she's just, she
screams in pillows at night. Dude. I'm sure she loses her shit.
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does.
Yeah. After that Super Bowl, I bet she did.
Oh yeah, she got booed at the Super Bowl. That was
yeah. I think that was
I
think that was the first clear sign of what the rest of that game was going to turn out to be like.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I was hearing highlights from it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
As a Los Angeles Chargers fan, and the Chiefs are in our same division, I ate every second of that fucking Super Bowl like fucking dinner. It was so wonderful.
I bet. I was happy because I just didn't want to see them win again. I was just tired of hearing about fucking Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I'm so done hearing that whole story. Like, who gives a shit? Like, I don't fucking care. Play some fucking football.
It was different, man. I didn't want I think NFL, because NFL's that's my sport.
Yeah.
I don't want any three-peat unless it's my team, and my team hasn't even won a Super Bowl yet.
Right.
But I didn't care when the Bulls did it. I didn't care when the Lakers did it.
Right.
It was actually quite monumental to actually see it happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know how close. I don't even know how many teams in baseball have even gotten close to even to a.
It's been a few. The Yankees have done it a few times. Pittsburgh Pirates, Cincinnati Reds have done it.
And that's pretty crazy too, man. Because you guys play a lot of fucking games.
Yeah. I mean, the Dodgers are going to do it the next couple of years. They'll have 2 more championships and three-peat. So, it's going to be,
it's a possibility. I mean, as much as I dislike that fucking team and I'm a Braves fan, it's a big possibility.
It is. Yeah.
But I wanted to get into after the whole Super Bowl thing, it's the last game of the season, but prior to that is the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever watched the Pro Bowl going up, dude. It was And if anybody ever played like Madden growing up, the old school like pro skills, like quarterback challenge and like running back challenge, defensive challenge was like so much fun. It was like the grit of training, all that shit.
Yeah.
And you got to see that with your favorite professional athletes growing up. Now you get fucking flag football, people that can hit a fucking target, these big ass fucking, you know, like those balloons in front of like tire shops like this?
Yeah.
They got these fucking things in a field, like a little small arena field. They can't hit shit. And they're expecting people to be like, take us seriously.
Yeah. No, I saw that it was flag football now. I was like, what?
They changed that because it was touch football prior to that. It was two-handed tag. I'm like, you got to be out of your mind. And I was talking to my boss about it this morning. And I go, dude, because first off, as we're recording this, the Four Nations Championship hockey game is tonight with Canada. I'm getting fucking goosebumps. I don't know if you can see that. I'm getting goosebumps. Against Canada and the United States. So a little briefing with that. This is a small little tournament between the U.S., Canada, Finland, and Sweden. And it's a best out of 3 games. Whoever has the most points with NHL type rules, points wise, goes to the championship. So the first game, and there was only played in Montreal and someplace in the States. So we play our game against Canada in Montreal. As we are singing our national anthem, we are getting booed. We are getting booed, people. As our president is saying, we are going to make you guys a fucking part of the United States and one of our states. You guys boo us. And what happened? The first 90 seconds, 3 fights.
Gloves come off, baby.
Come right off. So that happens. That is just like full like spirit. I was just like, fuck yeah. I was feeling every bit of it. Like, this is like what I wanted to see. Every bit of it. So I'm excited about watching the game tonight. But when I reflect on all the other sports in the All-Star games, they don't give a flying shit about the consumer anymore.
No.
It is really quite sad. And like, this is what hockey did. Like, we need to see fights. We need to go back to, are we trying to get back to where it used to be? Like, we need to bring back a little bit of hazing, a little bit of, hey, you know what? Maybe we should be able to hit this quarterback a little bit more in the game.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of miss that. You guys do wear a fucking helmet. You're not going out there, you know, butt ass naked.
Yeah.
So I think this hockey game really got people think. I think honestly in the last 4 to 5 months, people have really been changing their way of perception of how life has been in the last 4 to 5 years quite drastically.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're realizing, oh my gosh, things used to be really fun back in the day when you can kind of say, you're being kind of gay.
Yeah.
You know,
and not
it's
mean
like
that you're being homosexual. You mean you're just being gay.
Yeah. We have a doormat that we are making this weekend that says we say retarded and gay in this house.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's not to be offensive to anybody. It's just how we grew up. Yeah. It wasn't to offend anybody. It wasn't to dive deep like, oh yeah, you are a Down syndrome, Emma, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not what you say. You know, that's not what it's meant to be like. So, gosh, you know, I really do feel that we are trying to bring everything back to like how we grew up, dude. And it's starting to feel a little bit better. And I think people are starting to notice how these celebrities are taking advantage of the consumer. You know, like LeBron James was supposed to play in the All-Star game. People paid to go see LeBron James and he fucking decides not to.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Back in the All-Star, to go to the Pro Bowl in the NFL and go to Orlando and play in the Pro Bowl was an honor.
Yeah.
Was like an honor, you know, and now it's like, oh, let's go play flag football with a bunch of our friends. It's like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, you guys suck. Like, you guys really do suck. You took a whole season and then made it to this funny fucking game. It's like, you might as well just put the whole SpongeBob, you know, graphics in the back because this is how silly it's become.
Yeah. Yeah. And they tried in baseball, like that's my sport. They tried in baseball to kind of make it count. So like the winner of the All-Star game, if the American League wins, then they get home field advantage in the World Series. And
oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's what they tried to do in baseball. I think out of all the All-Star games, baseball is actually like the only one that's actually kind of exciting because they have a reason to play. I mean, there was times where they just kind of they shut the game off. They're like, oh, well, who cares? It's tied. We'll just stop it now. But now it kind of like the game means something. But at the same time, it's still, it's really kind of dumb. It's like, who really cares? I mean, I really rarely watch it. I like to watch the home run derby. That's super fun. That's all they've changed rules in that to make it a little more interesting. So that's fun. But the All-Star game's kind of just like, it is what it is. It's just usually the score's really low, and because you got the best pitchers against the best hitters, and usually the pitchers are winning. So the score's usually low. Last year's game was actually kind of exciting, but they did make it to where it's interesting. But the one that I can always think of, like as far as all-star games, for me, when I was in like middle school, basketball was always the one that I loved to watch. And it wasn't really the all-star game. It was the competitions, the dunk contest and the three-point competition. But something I always said, I started watching, I watched like 3 in a row, and then I started thinking like, how are they going to come up with any kind of different dunks? Like, they've already pretty much done it. They've done everything. Like, there's only so much you can fucking do when it comes to dunking. And now they like bring out a car and try to dunk over the car. It's like, it's just lame now. It's just boring. But me and my friends, literally in middle school, I had friends that we would go and like, we'd sit down, we had like 4 people and watch the freaking slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest. And like, it was like an event. Now it's like, it's just lame. It's just dumb.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the All-Star game for basketball, like all the competition and shit, but it was supposed to be, there was like one, it was a teammate thing, and they had these different nets. Like, I don't know how it was set up, whatever, but you were supposed to get like shoot around the perimeter, whatever, but it was all based off of time. So these guys literally just fucking chucked the ball to each different section just to get time. I'm like, you guys aren't taking it seriously.
That's stupid. Yeah.
I'm like, so now you're like, you might as well just slap the fucking front row as you're passing by him, you know?
Yeah. I saw a clip of that. I was like, it's not the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
It's not.
But like, we're going back to when we grew up. Slam dunk contest. You saw fucking Dominic Wilkins from the Atlanta, Atlanta Hawks. But then you saw 5 foot, what 6 foot, or even under that, Spud Webb win the
like
slam dunk.
5'4", bro.
Yeah, like he was small and he won the slam dunk contest, and that's something that he didn't have to jump over a car. He just had to fucking make the dunk. That's like, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing that.
Give him the trophy.
Yeah, like give this midget the fucking trophy. Give him a contract too if he's not already signed. Where did it come from?
Yeah, exactly.
It was meaningful. Like it was just different. And now it's like we have catered to these celebrities to the point where they were like, you guys work for me now because I can do whatever I want on social media. You guys will just come crawling for it.
Yep. Exactly.
No. So I don't want, like, I want my all-star games to be fucking like meaningful. Like I want the games to be like your baseball game.
Yeah.
I want it to be meaningful, but how like football does is at the very end where it's not meaningful anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I just remember growing up, I think it was 97, 98. Sean Taylor was from the Washington Redskins. He came back in the All-Star game on a punt return, and he fucking clocked the punter so hard, dude. People were like, this is a fucking All-Star game. This is the Pro Bowl game. This is the friendly game.
Yeah.
And Sean Taylor, he's like, fuck you. He just smashed this dude,
That's what you want to see, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. I told my boss, I'm like, if I gave you $150 million and you sign a contract, this is what you have to do. You get $150 million, but you have to take hits like from a fucking rhino every single week. You know, are you going to take it? You're going to sign it? Hell yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you are.
Hell yeah.
So you can't just say like, no, I think this is starting to affect me now. I'm like, dude, you're fucking deep into murky waters now, baby.
Yeah.
Like, we see what you can do and we want more of it.
Yep. Yep.
So
everything's got their safe spaces now, and everything's got to like, oh, calm down. Like they even do that in baseball now with like you can't block the bases anymore. Like if you just put your foot in the way when someone's sliding, they'll call them safe. It's stupid. Yeah. And like you can't, like, you know how back in the day you used to be able to just slam into the catcher when you're coming home? Oh yeah. We used to do that in Little League. Yeah. And now you can't do that anymore. You get called out. So they just made it all like, after they call it like the Buster Posey rule, because Buster Posey he was the catcher for the Giants, and he got slammed into, but when he went backwards, his ankles like broke. So he was back on his feet and his ankles broke. So yeah, it was funny, but it wasn't funny. It was like, oh man,
imagine if you were the announcer.
He got demolished, bro.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, but he
So,
got,
oh
but
my God, what
yeah,
happened to him? What's
yeah,
going? He's all,
yeah.
holy shit, his ankles are gone.
Holy shit, his ankles are facing the wrong way. But
Hey,
they made a
would
new
you eat the
rule.
moon if it was made out of cheese?
So they got all these like, safety rules now in baseball, and it's like, okay, now it's boring. And that kind of stuff. Like I want to see like you said in hockey, like they still fight. Like if they ever ban that in hockey, dude, it's just like, okay, the world's over.
Oh, you might
Sports
as
is
well
done.
you might as well just stop that sport. No,
Yeah.
it won't even be the same.
Oh yeah.
It's like oh fuck, I had a really good point. Just like when we're talking about like Nirvana and all that stuff like that, it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Remember when Limp Bizkit, when Wes Borland quit and they got the new guitar player?
Yeah.
Do you even know what the name of that album is that he fucking wrote with them?
No, but I know there's one good song.
The
Eat
one
You
song they came
Alive
out
is
with.
good.
Yeah.
It's a great song, but no, I don't even know. And I know the guitar player was the guy from the band Snot. I don't know if you ever heard the band Snot. They were fucking great.
They're actually performing now.
Yeah, they are. Their singer was Lynn Straight, and he OD'd, stuff like that, and he was amazing. And the singer they have now sounds just like him. But that was a band that I was introduced to, and I was like, these guys are fucking playing funk and punk and all this. Like they were great. But he's a good guitar player, but it's just like it wasn't Wes Borland, so nobody remembered it, nobody cared, right?
So
to your point, like nobody gave a shit, nobody really cared. And I don't know the name of the album.
So,
like I mean, I can't. I know it, but it's like I can't remember. I don't even think about it. I love that song, but that's it. The rest of the album was trash.
So like people that grew up listening to Ozzy, listening to Nirvana, watching great all-stars growing up in actually competitive sports.
Yes.
We don't want to see something new and revised. We want to see how it used to be, not changed at all.
Yep.
We had it great, and you don't need to fuck it up.
But
you don't need to fuck it up.
That's how the world is. They try to make it all like they pussify the world. You know what I mean?
These new kids don't give a shit. These new kids don't give a shit about how great Nirvana and Ozzy were.
No.
I just want to see
brand.
Ozzy and just take their videos and stuff, and that's what they want it for. Like, no, if I had a wish, I would love to fucking go back in time to see certain artists.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh my gosh, I can rest peacefully now.
Yeah.
These kids don't give a shit about seeing Ozzy up there fucking having a hard time with his Parkinson's disease.
No.
These kids don't give a shit that LeBron James quit on them on the All-Star game, or these guys don't give a shit about the games at all. It's like, they don't care because they've been indoctrinated. This is how they should feel about these celebrities being one up on everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So
100%.
And speaking about one upping on fucking everybody, why is McDonald's fucking making us into a self-checkout fucking pussy fucking type, yes sir, I'll make my own order and I'll wait.
Yeah.
I went to McDonald's yesterday to pick up food for my lady, and I was standing there like an asshole because I wasn't going to use the kiosk. And then like 10 minutes later, they're like, are you being helped? I'm like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, no kiosk. I'm like, no kiosk. That's why you're back there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And, I'm the kind of person that I'll go in a grocery store, and I work in a grocery store. I don't like using the self-checkout, even if I'm buying one thing. I don't like using the self-checkout. When Walmart first introduced the self-checkout, I was like, fuck this. Now you're taking jobs away. You're taking people's jobs away. It's like, and so what I do is like, I'll go, I don't care if I have one little thing, pack of gum, I will go to a customer and I'll wait, or I'll go to a cashier and I will wait, because that is someone that's getting paid, that's taking care of their family. And that self-checkout, you have 10 self-checkouts and one person watching it, right? And at McDonald's, it's like, now you have all these people that are just basically cooking, and then you go and order. Now you're the cashier. You're not getting paid to do that, and you're the fucking cashier now. I don't work for McDonald's. I don't work for fucking Walmart. Why am I checking myself out? I'm not getting paid for this.
Like, hurry up next time.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And it all boils down to, like, especially in California, like they raised the minimum wage to $20, and now they can't afford to pay any people. So they just have, everybody's got to go to the kiosk, and they're going to do that everywhere because it saves them money. Order your own food. We don't need a cashier, so we have less labor. So now we have more money on the bottom line. And that's exactly why they're doing it. It's stupid.
Would you go to a restaurant, like not like a fancy restaurant, say like an Olive Garden or a Red Lobster?
Yeah.
But when you first walk up, you have to fucking appointment, have like one table for two, and you had to do that and set up your own table reservation and all that stuff.
Please go to table 54.
Correct. Yeah, and exactly. And do all that. And then
scan
when you
this
sit
QR
down,
code so you can actually look at the menu and then order. I mean, as it is right now, we already pay at the table instead of giving our card to somebody. We pay at the table. I mean, that's next. We're just going to order everything ourselves. A robot will bring it out on a tray. Here you go. You know,
it's like, would you guys do that? No, I would never do that. Like, they are taking away the social interaction with humanity right now.
Yeah.
And that's why we can't interact that's why most people can't interact with one another when something bad happens. They're like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on with you? You're in my safe space. And it's like, what's going on?
You're in my safe space.
Yeah.
You're in my bubble. Get out of my bubble.
It is crazy the fact that like, and then when I was standing there and I was like, what is going on? And they looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, okay, I walked into your establishment. You're supposed to help out the customer. That's customer service 101.
Yeah.
And that has been taken away where, it's customer walks in, you place your order, and then we will get to you when we can.
Yeah.
That is so fucked up. It is stupid. Quite crazy. This is crazy, the world we live in. We are now they want to keep us indoors. They want to keep us away from one another. Mm-hmm. And they want to keep the fun out of everything. And they want to make it difficult to have fun.
Yeah.
And when you can do it, it's like, well, on top of that, we saved you money here. These tickets are a good price, but everything to survive inside this park or this fun event is going to cost you $1 million.
Yeah. You want to go to a concert, $500 right there.
Yeah.
For two people, $500. That's cheap. Because if you buy merch and you buy the tickets and then you buy food and you buy drinks and you're, just to go see your favorite band, and God forbid it's Taylor Swift where you're spending $500, $600 per ticket.
Oh boy, it was fun. I had to go all the way to Arizona to go watch her.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not like how, like we said, not like how it used to be.
No.
I look at, even in this conversation, we've been talking for an hour. How many people out there that are listening to this can say that, hey, you can listen to a podcast for 1 to 4 hours, but can you actually have a conversation with someone for more than 15 minutes without feeling irritated or it's not going anywhere?
Yeah. It's really hard to do these days. I can do it, but we're old school, right? Like, I can sit there and talk to people all day and have a conversation, but sometimes I feel like you're having a conversation with somebody, especially a younger person, and they're just kind of like looking the other way and they start looking at their phone and you're like, okay, well, see you later.
Oh, this
literally
doesn't
do that.
interest you?
Yeah. My conversation or what I'm trying to tell you about, this knowledge, this useless information I have in my head, you don't want to hear about it? Okay, yeah, okay. You're just a dumb old man. Sorry, see you later. Bye. I don't want to deal with you. I can't talk to anybody in the younger generation because all they want to see is what's going on TikTok, As you try to have this conversation with them and they're like looking in this other direction and then they start looking down at their phone and, So yeah, you can't have a conversation with someone for an hour. You really can't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah, man, it's a weird ass world.
Yeah.
But technology has done that to us, which is great and bad, good and bad at the same time. But man, it has opened up the possibilities of what is happening in this crazy world right now. If you want to get into the next subject.
Oh yeah. So what I wanted to talk about was, what's going on with DOGE. What's going on?
Can I touch that Doge? Can we touch that Doge? Can we touch that Doge, please? We're gonna get a teacher that says that, dude. That's gonna be our trademark.
Yeah.
Can I touch that Doge?
Can I touch that Doge? So if you're not familiar with DOGE, it's the Department of Government Efficiency, right? Run by Elon Musk, and he's a billionaire. He knows how to deal with money, and people are losing their fucking minds because he's finding all these things that are going on with the government.
Can I give a prime example?
100%. Yeah. What? I mean,
when he bought Twitter,
yes,
he fired 80% of the staff, and Twitter is still running as efficient as it did prior.
Exactly.
So, go ahead.
They weren't needed. These fucking people were needed. He's finding millions of dollars that are going places that, one, it's saying they're going these places, and are they really? He's finding out that most of what they're spending this money on isn't actually going to where it was supposed to. So it's not being received on the other end, including money that was sent to Ukraine. Even Zelensky said that he's only got half of what the trillions or whatever has been sent. Okay, so what I wanted to bring this up is like, okay, where did the money go? How are you working on like a governor's or senator's salary, which is less than $200,000 a year, $150,000, $140,000 a year, which is a good salary, but how are you worth $10 million? How the fuck is Nancy Pelosi worth how is she, 20 something million dollars, $22 million, something like that? I think her net worth. Mm-hmm. How the fuck is she worth that much money? So what's happening is Elon Musk is finding all this money that's being spent in all these frivolous ways, but they're losing their minds because that's money that's going into their pockets. It's going here and then going here and then getting laundered and then coming right back into their pockets. And now they're losing their mind and trying to turn the brainless, the people that just blindly believe what they see, because I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to believe this. They blindly believe it and say, oh, he's crazy. He's stealing your information. Everybody already got your information. You go fucking buy a car, you have to give your social security number. When you sign up for a fucking, whatever, car insurance, whatever you do, you're giving your social security number. Everybody already has your goddamn social security number. And Elon Musk is going to steal all my info. It's already out there. He's trying to find, it's government efficiency. He's trying to make the government more efficient. And he just said, if we don't do something about this deficit, the country will be bankrupt, which means we won't have money for Social Security. So all of us, our generation, will not have Social Security if we don't do something about this right now. But the Dems are losing their mind. And I'm just to state, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm right in the middle. I don't like the two-party system. I don't identify either way. But I think the Democrats are fucking nuts. And I think that they're losing their minds because they're going to lose their money. They're going to lose all these millions that they're getting. How is Gavin Newsom just buy a $9 million fucking home? And what is his fucking salary?
I think besides losing money, I think they're afraid of their names being popped up of like, you're a part of this fucking conspiracy.
Oh, they could go to prison.
Yeah.
They could do prison time.
I think people really ultimately people fail to realize that we live in the United States of America, a country that is overall a fucking business to every other country and nation around the world.
Yeah, they depend on us.
We all do business with one another to run the best country we can. And when we've all worked with some people that are like, hey, this guy or this girl really fucking sucks at this job and is tanking this company.
Yeah.
So we've all seen it and gone through it. And the United States is no different. It is no different. And the fact that we are finding stuff that we are, as us taxpayers, are just paying, unwillingly and being funded to all these people are supposed to be funded to these programs and organizations, is being funneled back into these millionaires' pockets.
Yeah.
And they're pissed off about it because they're going to be fucking called out on it. And like you said, may, get jail time.
You could.
And if people are losing their mind about it because they don't want to believe that this is such a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like you just said, how does Gavin Newsom have a $9 million fucking home and have a fucking winery in Napa Valley?
Yeah.
On under $200,000 fucking salary.
Yeah. The math ain't mathing to me. The math ain't fucking mathing. It's like they're all, you sent me a video about that earlier. They're all in the same club. They're all in the same club, all the same people, and they're all in the same club, and they're about to get exposed. And that's why they're losing their minds. That's why they're freaking out. They're in the streets doing rallies and screaming But like, and
You know what the difference is between some people that are part of those elites compared to others is that some don't have to hide what they do.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that are just completely honest about what they do. I mean, I'll give a prime example when on the first presidential debates with Trump and Hillary, and they were talking about the whole tax thing, you know, like, oh, you benefit from the tax reform, tax, setup. And he goes, yeah, like you guys do. And so do I. I don't lie about it. He's like, I don't fucking lie. I mean, that's the big difference. Everybody else has to keep it under fucking the radar because it is so shady.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what this fucking guy does behind the Oval Office. They know what the fuck this guy does. He's like he's a walking billboard on everything he does. He's like, I woke up this morning brushing my teeth right now. Fuck you guys. You know, that's just what he can do in a tweet.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
so
he actually lost net worth when he was president last time. That's the difference. Every other president
he paid for his campaign. I don't know if anybody knows that, but
he
paid for his
campaign, and he did not take a salary. He donated his salary, and he lost like $1 billion in net worth. You know how much $1 billion is? Like, you think, okay, you go from million to billion, but $1 billion fucking dollars is a lot of money, and he lost money to be president. And everyone else gains millions of dollars in net worth when they're president. He's the only president.
People, is $1 billion shocking to you? Is that a lot of money? Imagine sending $150,000 to another fucking country and not your own people, and then that person has the audacity to say, "I didn't even receive half."
Well, he got 150 billion.
Is that 150 billion? So
billion.
The question mark. Don't you guys question that? Is that a possibility with what's happening with DOGE? That's scary.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if the Biden administration gave $30 billion out to the American people and how it could have restored this entire fucking country?
Yeah.
But instead, they dropped $150 billion on a country that we have no idea what we're even fucking funding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's like what we're talking about with the 5K stimmy, right? They're talking about giving it back to the people, right? The money that they're finding.
Like, this is your money.
This is your money. We get taxed. We get taxed on our income, and then the money that's already taxed, we go buy something, and that gets fucking taxed. It's our tax money. It's our tax money, and it's going to places that shouldn't be going to. It was going into their pockets, and for them to say, hey, there's a possibility we might be able to give some of that back to you. All you people that paid all these taxes that went all these other places, we're going to give that money back. Some of that money is going to go back to you, you know, and that's amazing. I think that's going to help out the economy. Imagine if they do this, if they get rid of the income tax, and then they give us a 5K stimmy or whatever they can give. They give a little bit of a stimulus. Then what that does is it'll boost the economy. Remember what happened with COVID when they gave stimulus checks, right? It helped people out a lot. I wasn't sure at the time if I agreed with it, but it did. I saw what it did for some people, and it really did help some people out. Some people were just like frivolously spending it, like it didn't use it for what it was for. But a lot of people needed that shit at that time. You know, a lot of people were out of work. I know. I was working at a grocery store, so I had money. I was actually making tons of money because I was working like 70 hours a week. And then I got a stimmy on top of it. So I was like, fuck yeah, dude. You know, I'm fucking working my ass off. I'm taking care of these people that can't work, that can't find toilet paper, right? I'm fucking making sure that what we do get in gets put on the shelf for you. And I was an essential worker. And so I was like happy that I got that shit, right? And it helped out a lot of people. So right now with all this shit that's been going on for the last 4 years, with money just going here, going there, we don't know where it's all going. And now we're finding out where it's going. We get a little bit of that back. Fuck yeah, dude. I'll be.
Yeah. All the people that are bitching and complaining about this finding of DOGE, but they're like, hey, we're going to give you guys a 5K stimmy. Like, they're like, I'll take that.
Maybe Elon's not such a bad guy. You know,
it's kind of our money anyways, right?
Yeah, it's kind of our money.
Fucking unbelievable, dude.
Once we get that stimmy, you'll be like, oh, well, thanks. Well, I guess he's not such a bad guy.
But the thing about it is that it's a morale booster, and I think everybody needs it. You know, everybody needs it to help them in whatever case, you know, they need it for.
Yeah.
But if that stimulus check drops, I don't want to hear shit about eggs. You motherfuckers out there talking about the price of eggs are so expensive. Yeah. I don't know. not even fucking 75% of my friends cook fucking eggs on a weekly basis. They don't use eggs for shit. So fuck you guys. Unless you're a restaurant, you're not cooking eggs. You don't give a shit about eggs. So stop it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about milk or something else, or about sodas or something like a beverage that you used to drink. I used to get, when I was smoking tobacco, like Dutch's cigars. When I was buying those, this was like maybe a year or two ago. They were $1.50. These motherfuckers are like $2.75 to $3.
Yeah.
That's shocking. Something so small, that's shocking to me. You know, and I do that on a daily basis as an addict. So people that say like, eggs this, eggs that, I hate the fact that this whole eggs thing is viral. It bothers the shit out of me.
You know what's funny is, you know what I do at a grocery store? Stock the eggs.
Stock eggs.
Order the eggs. So I hear it every day, like, man,
unappreciative fucking people.
Fuck you. Why are eggs $10? You know why the eggs are $10? Because let me break it down why eggs are $10. Because you motherfuckers will pay for anything. Because they made up supply and demand issues with a fake bird flu, and then they said, we have to raise the price, and everybody kept fucking buying them, and it went fucking viral. Eggs are expensive. Eggs are running out. It all went all over the place, and you still fucking bought your $10 eggs. That's why they're fucking $10. If you boycotted it and said, you know what, maybe I won't buy eggs right now because they are $10, they would have realized that and brought the price down, and then eggs would be fine. But you dumb motherfuckers kept buying them. I stopped buying eggs because I was like, fuck that. That's too expensive. I don't need eggs right now. You know, I literally said, I'm not going to buy eggs right now because it's too much money.
People, do you guys realize the amount of money we are sending out to people, Social Security money out to people that are 150 years plus?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. So it's 150 years old. He's still getting Social Security checks.
It didn't just stop.
Yeah.
I watched it this morning. Trump dropped a list that got up to like 175 or some shit like that.
Yeah, and there was
and
millions.
It was like giving out, and it was like it got to, when it got to 175 or some shit like that, it was like 300,000 still.
Yes,
but people that were 100 to 135 were receiving millions in Social Security.
Exactly.
So if you guys are bitching about eggs and you guys are mad about DOGE, doesn't this make you upset? What the fuck? What's going on here? It's actually quite laughable, but yet when they really drop the news, like when this shit's going down and then the JFK files get released to everybody and then the Martin Luther King one, all that shit, life's going to get fucking really crazy because people are going to realize how corrupt we can be in the United States.
Everything is fucking rigged and fake. Like I said, everything is fake. And I've been saying this for years, like
175 years old, dude. We're set up, dude. We can do 2 life sentences in prison and still get Social Security.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like how do they not, you know why they didn't catch this? Because those people that are 175 years old they're the filters, they're the launder. That's where the money's getting laundered. Is all these people are getting this money and then it's going right back into other people's pockets. That, you know, that's why they didn't catch it. And now they're mad.
How many times does the IRS let you go by on fucking owing them? Never. But yet they have not passed a fucking audit in how long?
Yeah.
It's actually quite questionable. People I think people, you need to open your eyes if you're questioning, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, hey, this kind of makes sense because I'm not listening to it on a television show where it's being, you know, politicized in a certain way. No, man, we're old school. We're going to tell you fucking raw, the best way we can. We'll tell you how it is.
Everything's fake and gay.
And the thing about it is, it's so like it's fake, gay, and retarded.
It's fake, gay, and retarded.
But look at it this way, people. If your boss gave you your weekly or biweekly check in cash, but every time that he took out all this change and shit like that, and like, what's that for? And like, don't worry about it. And that was it.
Yeah.
Are you going to be okay with it?
No.
I mean, maybe like if you were like 17 and like, or like in your teens and shit, you didn't care. Like, oh, this is how the world works. But after like 13 years, your dad or your friends are like, why are you giving the boss money still? They're like, oh, I just think that's just how it works. Like, no, he's fucking robbing you, idiot. Like at this point, he's taking 50% of my check. They're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So think about it. I mean, it's really hard to imagine, but this is the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
And if we do get a $5,000 stimulus, that might even be the beginning of what they fucking find. Elon's thinking about dropping our deficit to $1 trillion within the first fucking year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
With everything he's finding, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's
And
possible.
you think $1 trillion to invest back into the United States won't help the American people? Think about it, y'all.
Yeah. Think about if they, like I said, if they get rid of income tax, you get your 100% of your check. Okay. And yeah, maybe they'll take sales tax and raise it a little bit. And then, we're getting all of our check. Where's that money going? It's going to go back into the economy. We're going to be able to afford more. Even if we're buying frivolous shit, it's still going into the economy. It's still going back into the economy. And if we get a stimulus, where's that money going to go? It's going to go right back into the economy, and it'll boost the economy. And that's the reason for it. And it'll help us out. It'll help the American people out.
But Dick, let me ask you, what about these tariffs? What if they take the income out and then these tariffs just fucking fuck up our product where it just comes in so overpriced?
Well, let me explain how tariffs work. Tariffs, what it will do, what a tariff is a tariff will be a tariff. See, tariffs haven't worked in the past, but they haven't been done right in the past. Okay, here's the thing. Go to Ferris Bueller's Day Off and watch Ben Stein explain tariffs, where he's like, anybody, Pauly Schnoot? That's a scene talking about tariffs, where they didn't work. But what the goal is with tariffs is, yeah, we charge, the company has to pay that tariff. They're making it overseas, it comes in, they have to pay that tariff, right? So they basically will, let's say it's a 20% tariff, 25% tariff, they should have to raise the price of things 25%. But what they don't want to do that, because then with anything, if you have to raise the price of something, you're going to lose in the long run. Okay. So what they'll have to do is say, okay, well, we're making this shit in Mexico, and now we have tariffs on Mexico. We're making this shit in China. We have tariffs on Mexico or in China. Well, fuck it, dude. Let's build a fucking factory right here. Toyota fucking did that. Toyota built a factory, and it has a factory in Texas. Did you know that, like, Toyota, 75% of the parts of Toyota are made in Texas? There's domestic vehicles that are made in Mexico. More of their parts are made overseas than here. Okay, but now you slap tariffs on that shit, they're going to say, fuck it, let's build a factory in fucking Texas, or let's build a factory here. And now it creates jobs, and it creates, because then they're going to avoid the tariffs, economy, and it boosts the fucking American economy. That's the goal. It was done wrong because there was too much corruption done when it was done last time. But we've had tariffs. We have tariffs on things. We've always had tariffs on things. But what he wants to do,
every administration slaps tariffs on every country. But it's just a negotiation of numbers.
What happened? Okay, this is all you need to know. What happened when Trump said to Canada and Mexico, "We're fucking slapping tariffs on your shit"? They both caved and said, "Never mind, we're good." Right? They know what the damage will be. They both depend on our economy, so they can't. They know that tariffs are a big deal. So that's what the goal is. And if they can make it work the right way, which it sounds like the way they want to do it is going to be a better way, and it'll boost the economy. And before we had income tax, what did we do? We had tariffs. Before there was an income tax, everything was done with tariffs, and we had zero deficit. Okay. The reason we had an income tax in the first place was because of the war. They wanted to put an income tax on the war, and it was only like 4%, and it was only supposed to be temporary for the war. Then they realized that, hey, we can, instead of doing these tariffs, we can actually just make the American people pay for everything. It was the same time where they ended up putting in the Federal Reserve. Instead of having everything like on a gold standard or like a silver standard, they decided, we'll have the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not federal, and it's not a reserve. The Federal Reserve is basically, they give loans to the government with interest. That's what the Federal Reserve is. And all our money is based on that. That's why we have inflation and shit like that. And that all came after. And then they realized, hey, we can just tax the shit out of people and get our money. We don't need anything else. We can make the entire fucking human race slave labor. And that's exactly what they did. And it worked. And what they're trying to do now is take a little bit of that away. Make the American people, when we work at our jobs, when we go to work every day, we will get our entire paycheck. And then we can pay sales tax. There's actually states that don't have an income tax right now. And those states have a surplus. They thrive. Okay. The whole country has that. We will thrive. It is something that we don't need. We don't need an income tax.
It's crazy to think that, oh shit, there's jobs that could potentially come back to the States and boost this place up. I'm like, yeah, everything, people, do you know that one person that you can't like do a negotiation with, or like take them out to go do a negotiation with, if you're going to go buy a car, like this person can't come at me because they fucking suck at it.
Yeah.
This is how it is in our administration too.
Yeah.
If we get fucking shitty inflation and stuff like that, it's because we have really bad negotiation behind the wheel.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to. Like, we don't have to slap a tariff on anybody, but the shit that's being imported into the States have to be coming in at a reasonable price for the civilians.
Yeah.
It's all it is a negotiation thing. And if people are like, no, we don't want to do that, like, okay, well, I'm slapping a tariff on you if you want to do that. That's really how simple it is. And if we can't come to a negotiation, we'll just fucking make everything here.
Mm-hmm.
And then your economy is going to suffer. The United States is going to, first off, the United States is going to thrive no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if we stop building everything, or we started building everything, we're going to hurt for a little bit, because building a fucking iPhone in China compared to the US is going to be fucking life changing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But we would, tighten the bolts up, put the oil in fucking the particular parts, and then we fucking start thriving.
Yep.
But other countries can't have that.
No,
they don't want us to be independent. Yeah.
They depend on us.
If we're independent and other people need us, we're going to go back to how the United States used to be, where people looked up to us for everything.
Yeah.
So, and you guys don't remember that. We were considered the big brother because we were doing everything right, economy wise, military wise. We fucked up on the Vietnam War and the Korean War and shit like that. We fucked up a lot. Yeah. But on the, but if you're looking at it, we were running things properly. We had no dictatorship going on. We were, it was just your typical, life. Now it's like, it is, we're not even looked upon, or we weren't considered even a threat a couple of years ago. Now, fucking with this new administration and all this new findings, I think we're being taken a little bit seriously because we're not fucking around.
We're not fucking around.
We're being put, the American people are being put first again. Finally.
100%.
And that's how it should be. Putin doesn't fuck, I watched the interview with Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin, and he is a phenomenal speaker, and he is very prideful with fucking Russia and its people.
Yeah.
And I felt that we did not get that with the Biden administration. It was very categorized with certain people in the world.
Yeah.
And that's not what the U.S. needs to be focused on. We need to be focused on its people. People, if you're listening to this, and I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody outside of the United States, and I hope that your countries are focused on you and its own people as well, but that's how it should be in every country.
Yeah.
Our people first, and then if we can help out, great.
Yeah.
Why were we helping people out back in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Why were we doing that? Because we could do that because we were thriving.
Yeah.
And now it's like, we don't even want to help our own people out. We want to help everybody else out, but launder it back into this elite.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We lost the touch of our humanity.
Yeah. And it all boils down to greed. It all boils down to the fact that they use the American people and the taxpayer money because they're greedy and they can get away with it. And now, because we have people in office that aren't greedy, that aren't trying to put money into their own pockets, they got two of the richest men in the world at running shit, right? Like, yeah, from a billionaire. Elon is
billionaire.
A billionaire. He's the richest man in the world. He doesn't need your fucking money. He's got plenty of his own. So now that's the kind of person you want in there. That's what these people don't realize. You want these people. You want these two businessmen in there that are going to say, look, they're going to look at it like a business. What does a business do? Goes back to McDonald's, right? Bottom line. You got to have that bottom line. It's always got to be there. You have to have that bottom line. You got to make a profit. You got to make a certain amount of money. The U.S. is not making a profit. We're not. It's not profitable. We don't have a surplus of money where we can help other people. We don't have that money. So we need to figure out what we're spending our money on, help our people. And I don't mean like they're spending billions of dollars on homelessness, but homelessness is increasing because where's that money going? Going into other people's pockets. So we need to figure that shit out. You got all this money that's going other places that shouldn't be going. Once they get that under control, they can get America under control as far as the budget, and then we'll have money to help out. If Ukraine needs some money, we'll send it to you. We got to know where it's going though. We need to know where you're getting it. Like, okay, you only got half of the money that they were spending. Where'd that other half go? I know exactly where it went. So now we need to know where this money's going, where we're spending money. And that's where DOGE comes in, is where they're saying, okay, we need to know where all our money's going, where all our fucking money is going. And they're finding all this shit out that's not right. And
they're just an elite auditor.
Yes,
yeah, they're elite auditor.
Yeah, and people should be happy about it. I don't understand why people are freaking the fuck out. It's like, this is your taxpayer money.
You should be concerned what they're finding.
You
That's
should
really
be concerned about this. But
this whole segment is everybody. You should be like, we're poking fun at a lot of things, but
yeah,
we're really concerned about all these findings. I had no fucking idea that people even wrote on paper that a 175-year-old exists, let alone giving them a Social Security paycheck on top of that. Yeah. But do you also realize what comes with Social Security paychecks, which comes with a voter possibility registration?
Yeah, exactly.
So when we saw an election not too long ago, when we saw the highest peak of voters ever recorded, no one questioned anything.
No, it was just that, hey, you got the most amount of votes ever. Somehow
you increased by 100%.
Yeah,
actually 1,000%. Yeah, how much the vote was? Because how many people voted this time compared to last?
Yeah,
it was like 80 million the first run around to like 8 million or some shit like that.
Yeah, but if you look at the line, it goes right here, and then it's Biden 2020, and then it goes right back down to the same amount of people, right? It's like that year, all these extra people voted that maybe they were 175, maybe they were 150 years old. If you look at the numbers, it's possible. It's
kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy. 100%.
80 million people voted for one person and like 79 million for the other. It was like the most absurd thing you ever saw. Like, what type of CNN numbers is this?
Yeah. And then I remember one time I started saying like, well, did you notice that this has happened? I was talking to someone that I worked with when I was still in California. They're like, you're being really racist right now. I was like, how is that racist? How did that end up? How did race come into it?
How does that make sense?
Yeah. Just because anything. Yeah.
That just goes back to like your whole Beehive video. People started calling you a racist and everything. You're like, how?
How am I being racist?
I said it sucked.
I just said the album sucked. The music sucked. How is that racist? Everything's racist and gay and retarded
and all that stuff. And it's okay that people steal from you and shit like that. It's totally fine as long as it's not like shoved in your face. Like, hey, I'm taking this money from you as long as I'm not waving in front of your face. It's okay.
It's just because it doesn't matter. Anything that Trump does because he's Trump, they hate. Simple as that. It doesn't matter. They don't want to admit that, oh, wait, he might be right here. They don't want to admit that.
Isn't it crazy that like the people that have so many other things to be going on in this world decide to fucking do this, to stop what they're doing, to stop whatever Trump's doing in his, estate and businesses. Elon just stops doing his association with X and fucking SpaceX.
Yeah.
It's like just so they can, so Trump can fix the world and how the perception of people look at us.
Yeah.
And Elon can fucking put us into a winning situation with the efficiency of this economy.
Yeah.
Wow. It kind of sounds like these people give a shit.
Yeah. Kind of sounds like they care about the American people.
God, it doesn't. I mean, people, sometimes you have to say shit out loud to make it sound right and funny at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, don't go to The crazy thing is that television and radio sucks now because people don't trust it. They go to podcasts and all this shit because they get to hear like the language that they grew up, that they understand. Or like, yeah, I understand exactly. I'm pretty sure after this podcast, somebody will be like, I kind of understand tariffs just a slight bit better than what I did before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. It's like we're so oblivious because it's not shoved in our face. And what's going on is that Elon and President Trump is showing what is being taken advantage of, why the American people are taking advantage of. And these people have millions of dollars, but they don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit. They don't need it.
Yeah.
They don't need any of the money. And they want to show like, this is what corruption looks like on a large scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, crazy times right now. So
yeah.
Really crazy times.
We're living in a movie, bro.
Yep. Fuck. We had 2 more topics, and this whole thing about I'm all fired up about this shit now, dude.
Yeah,
but no, like I kind of wanted to briefly talk about like, like besides getting up, everybody has to get up and go to work and handle business and be an adult, and just if you want to eat and survive, you have to do what you need to do. And Richard and I have had previous podcasts about like shit that I've struggled with, and things kind of went, full cycle of like answers up to a lot of questions that kind of like shattered me to the point where like, I didn't want to like podcast. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I just wanted to be like kind of dead to this world. But I went to work because I didn't need to be home. And I went to work, and my fucking job, I didn't want to miss work, first off, because I actually respect the people I work with. And when I got there, they can tell that I was, that it was noticeably, I was different. And, my boss took me to the side, talked to me, and it was just like the most comforting conversation you can have with somebody that you never really would expect in a work environment, because it's not supposed to be taken as a work. You're supposed to go to work, and that you're working for a company. They don't give a fuck about your feelings or what's going on. But I'm fortunate to be in a company for the very first time, that they actually care, like they actually care about their employees, and it's a very rare situation. And like, I want people to, I hope you guys all work in a place where you have some sort of satisfaction, or your workforce cares about you, or you love going there. There's something that just keeps you a little bit pumped about going there, because when you're working for somebody, they actually show that appreciation and they love you, or like care about you, or they show appreciation of what you do. Kind of like what's going on with Elon and the president. Like, hey, we need to show some love to these people that are just dumping all these billions of dollars into a fucking toilet bowl so these guys can pick it up.
Yeah.
It's the littlest things that just, make me very grateful that I found a job that if I do want to stay with for more than 5 years, I'm not too, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
5 years is a big commitment to any job right now. And I don't recommend anybody have a resume with like 2-year, stints and shit, because no one's going to take you seriously. But if you are a serious worker, you're normally staying at a job for 5+ years before you decide if it's going to be worth it or not. And I don't have any shame in, saying I would gladly work 5 to 10+ years with this company, because, they've been in a business for 100+ years. It's a family-owned business, obviously with investors and shit like that, but it's mostly ran by family. And it's just, that's how I feel any business should be ran in the first place.
Yeah.
Family, these people are running, these people that are coming in every day are running your business. You may be the boss and shit like that, but they are getting up to fulfill the day's task for you, ultimately.
Yeah.
So, I'm just very grateful, to be, to not be in a shitty like mindset at that point, but I'm very grateful to kind of be at a place where I can go and make money and talk to people outside of my core and not be shamed for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I work for a big corporation, like a Kroger, right? And that's like one of the biggest companies in the world. And so it's hard to get that, like you're saying, like that family thing from people. And I recently transferred stores because I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling like I was appreciated, work my ass off every day. And I felt like I wanted to make some moves, and the people in charge were just like not having it. And even though I deserved it, I knew more than everybody. I knew more than them. And because they took things personal, they decided, hey, no, we're not gonna do anything with you. You're gonna stay where you're at. And so I decided that I was gonna go somewhere else. I heard good things about another store, heard good things about the management of another store. Long story short, I transferred to a different store, and now I feel appreciated. I feel like store management is asking me when do you want to start moving up, because we need someone like you in our store. That's when you feel appreciated for all that hard work you put in. There's nothing like it. And there's management that just they don't give a shit about you. You're just a number to them, and you can work your ass off and nothing's ever going to happen. And there's people that's their management style. They're just going to beat you down, never say anything positive. They're always going to be negative, tell you everything that you do wrong. And then there's people that appreciate everything you do. And for me, when I get appreciated, I'm like, man, I'm going to work harder because I want them to see it. And I had a boss that never recognized anything I did for, almost 3 years. Never really recognized anything I did. And then when I decided to leave, I told him, and he was asking me why. First thing I wanted to say is, you motherfucker, you're the reason I'm leaving. You're the reason I want to get out of here, because I can't stand you, and you don't make me feel like I'm appreciated. I work my ass off. I come home and I could barely walk because I'm so tired from all the work I put in, and it didn't feel appreciated. So when you go to work every day, because both of us, we do it for certain reasons, right? We don't know any other way to do things but to work hard. That's just how we were raised. And we also have children that we need to take care of. And when I'm working hard every day, I think about my kids, and I think about, okay, they need money to eat. They need things. They need to have a better life than I had growing up. And my life wasn't too bad, but I we were poor. We didn't really have a lot. Grew up in Lake LA. All my kids have anything they need. So for me, I'm gonna work my ass off, and I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to make sure my kids have everything they need. So I work my ass off, and I make sure if they need something, they get it. It doesn't matter. And that's why I work. And if you go to a place where you feel like the people like you, if you have a bad day, they're going to recognize that and come talk to you and say, hey man, anything I can do? What's going on? Like that just makes you want to stay at a place forever. And just, that makes you want to go to work every day. Even though getting up early, going to work is tough, when you're going to go to a place where you feel appreciated, or you feel like the people actually care about you, that just makes going to work so much better.
Does that make you think that you are a little bit more noticed than other people that are maybe having a shitty day? It's like, oh yeah, that fucking Rick just looks like that all the time. Yeah, because people come up to me and they're like, I can tell when you're in your moods. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I'm always like, for me, like, I am always the guy that's going to be like, hey, how's it going? Good morning. How are you? I talk to everybody. It's just always how I am.
We're hype men. Hype men.
I'm totally a hype man. Like I can tell someone's having a bad day, and I will tell them like, hey, how's it going? Everything good? I'm that person that's going to go to people. So when I'm having a bad day and I'm in a shitty mood, it feels great when someone comes up and says, hey, how you doing? I noticed that you're a little down today, because I'm always up. And so, I'm always up. Even if I'm pretending, like if I'm having, a hard time, I still pretend I'm good, because that's just how I don't want to bring anybody down with me. But there's times where you can't fucking pretend, and you have to have that. You have to go and you put your head down and you just don't talk to anybody. And to have people come and say, hey, you doing all right? It's great. It's great to have that.
Yeah. Outside the norm, man. It's like a unusual, great feeling, that rarely comes,
Yeah.
Just like men out there, us men, when our ladies, give us a compliment or something, or like, oh, you look really nice, or like, are you been losing weight, or the fucking backyard looks good, or thanks for taking the trash out. It's like, I just want to do more shit for you now, babe.
Yeah. That was a great wienering last night.
Yeah. It was like, oh, really? I know you're lying, but thanks.
Thanks.
Who were you with last night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was the best 15 seconds of my life, baby.
Best 4 inches of my life. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But, I just hope you guys get to experience like the out of the core appreciation that, we get to, on like a daily, it's a really good feeling, man. And, I'm just very thankful I'm not thankful to what I've been going through this year, but I'm very thankful that I'm going to come out of it a better person. And on top of it, with all the shitty thing that is going on right now, I still haven't had a cigarette.
Good, dude. Good.
Yeah. So
Good.
I was like, man, I could really use it right now.
That's hard to do, man. Like I quit, gosh, I was 29 when I quit smoking. So going close to, and I'll be 48 this year. So yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I quit a long time ago. And I don't know if you remember me back in the day. I mean, I was literally smoking like 2 packs of Camel Wides a day. Wides, we switched to wides after a while. Yeah. And I was smoking 2 packs a day. And sometimes I would have, this is how I smoked. I'd get up in the morning and I'd smoke like maybe 2 or 3 cigarettes because you got to have that morning buzz, right? I'd go all day. So I would go to work and I'd have, a few cigarettes, and then I'd go all day. And I didn't want to smoke when I was with my babies, right? And, I was like, okay, I'm not going to smoke. I'd go all day. And then when I'd get home and start hanging out with everybody, I'd go through a pack and a half of cigarettes in 4 hours. Camel Wides.
It's like smoking a fucking Sharpie. These wides are. That's like.
It's smoking a fucking Sharpie. Dude, no, it's seriously, they're that wide, dude. They're fucking, Camel Wides, dude. We used to pop.
Wide. And I remember when they introduced the Camel Crushes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a life changer for me, dude.
Yeah. I didn't ever smoke those because those came out after I quit, but I heard they're really good. But
I was introduced to that like during when I started going to raves, because that was the best thing to smoke, because like when you're on ecstasy and shit and you got that like rush, it was like, woo!
Yeah.
It almost felt like the old Bud Light commercials or Coors Light. We were just like in the fucking mountains and shit. That's how it felt like, dude. It was nuts.
Yeah.
But what a great time to be alive, man. I don't even know if we should get into the last subject, because
we'll save it for next time.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next time in 2 weeks.
So
right?
people overall, I really hope with this latest podcast, you guys just open your eyes to what's happening in this world. Know that we don't need to rejuvenate 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s bands.
No.
You guys can fucking hit somebody as hard as you can if you're playing football. You don't need the self-checkout at McDonald's. And I hope you don't spend your stimulus check on cocaine.
Cocaine and hookers.
Right. Brother, I love you with all my heart, man. You're the one who's keeping me rocking and rolling with this podcasting, dude. And
Same, dude.
I can't wait to do more of this useless podcast, dude, because I honestly think this I think was one of our closest, our longest one, and it went by really quick.
It really did. Yeah, I kept looking at the time like, oh shit, really? Yeah, dude. No, this is good, dude. And we'll keep doing it. I love this, dude. I love you, brother. Thank you for getting me into this shit, because now it's like I can't stop. Now it's like I'm addicted to this shit and I love it. And it's like, it keeps me going. It's like my hobby, it's like everything that I look forward to, thinking about what I'm going to talk about. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. So thank you for getting me into this shit.
Appreciate you, brother, man. We're all inspiring each other, and I can't wait till the next podcast. So please go follow his podcast, or actually go follow my podcast. He can plug his own self, motherfucker. Fucking 100K viral video guy doesn't need any of my plug. But go follow my podcast at this. We stream this useless information podcast on both platforms. Mine as the Conference Call Podcast, and you can also follow Richard's at the Mind of Dick Podcast as well on all major podcast platforms.
100%. Go follow. Go watch.
All right, guys. You guys all take care out there. Keep positive and stay classy. And I'll let him do the outro.
Guys, remember this. You got this. Everything in your life gets down. You got this. DOGE, motherfucker.
Peace, y'all.